Okay, it has been 2 months since that horrible massacre in Uvalde, where an 18-year-old killed and wounded people at Hobbs Elementary. Now reports are coming in that the school board has canceled their meeting because Pete Armando's attorney claims that he just wants to tell his side of the story. So we don't know what's going to happen yet. But what we do know is that the representative,
who took to the House floor
we do know is that Representative Al Green called Greg Abbott's response of a cover-up. So let's take a look at this.
His office confirmed to KHOU that the Texas Rangers and the FBI investigations are ongoing.
Let's take a look at this.
Wittingly or unwittingly, the governor of the state of Texas laid a foundation for a cover-up.
Congressman Al Green is calling the governor's response to the Uvalde school shooting an attempted cover-up. He says the changing narratives from the day of the shooting nearly 2 months ago until now has vastly changed. KHOU 11 political reporter Gerald Harris takes a look at Representative Green's push to get Texas officials under oath before Congress.
It didn't have to happen.
Democratic Congressman Al Green is going after the state's response to the Uvalde school shooting, beginning from the top.
There was a cover-up. There was an attempt to hide from the public a big mistake. Doesn't have to be a crime.
He wants to know where Governor Abbott received his information as he sat around a wide range of elected officials the day after the shooting and claimed officers rushed to the scene to take out the shooter. Abbott later said he was misled.
When the governor made that statement, whether he did it wittingly or unwittingly, he laid the foundation for the cover-up.
The governor's office confirmed to KHOU that the Texas Rangers and the FBI investigations are ongoing. Green, who took to the House floor Thursday,
You can have a cover-up and not have a crime.
says his proof of a cover-up is in the hallway and body cam video of officers not matching what public officials, including the governor, said about the school shooting.
So our discovering by way of the video does not eviscerate the fact that a cover-up was taking place. They were trying to hide the truth.
He adds Uvalde families need straight answers, and Governor Abbott may need to be called in front of Congress to testify under oath.
So the camera gave us the truth, and that thwarted the cover-up. But the governor laid the foundation for it, and we need to know who did that, who caused that level of confusion, and who tried to hide these facts.
And this afternoon, we received a response from the governor's office on the accusations by Representative Green. A spokesperson said the governor is livid that he was misled about the actual response to the shooting, as different accounts were spun during the briefing, adding the investigations are ongoing, and we look forward to the full results being shared with victims' families and the public. Now, to read the full statement, head over to our website, khou.com.
Definitely a contentious claim. We'll see what happens next.
Absolutely.
Gerald Harris, thank you.
Wow. And just yesterday, the Texas Tribune reported that the Texas House publishes a report of the Uvalde school shooting investigation in Spanish. They said it intended to be published a report in both languages, but was unable to get a transcript before a meeting last Sunday when the English version was released. But less than a week after the Texas House Committee released the exhaustive report investigating the May 24th shooting in Uvalde, state officials released a copy in Spanish. In Spanish. This 75-page report into this was translated in Spanish. Now, we may know. The committee intended to publish the report in both languages, Moody said, but was only to get translated for a planned meeting last Sunday when the English version was released. And this week, the Spanish language version was translated by certified professional translators, who reduced their normal time to frame as the kind of translation, and was approved by the committee in accurate representation of our original report. 400 law enforcement officers descended upon the school in chaotic, uncoordinated scene that lasted for more than an hour. The group was devoted of clear leadership, basic communication, and significant urgency to take down the gunman, the report says. Now, 2 days ago, Time magazine did an article about how Uvalde Schools Police Chief Pete Arredondo went from local public servant to national parish. Now remember, the school board canceled that meeting because Pete Arredondo's attorney said that he has a right to tell his side of the story. For now, the police chief remains cloistered behind a variable shield formed by fellow members of public officials who say they were protecting information while multiple investigations are ongoing, as well as by some of those who have known him since a long time, lawman himself, a student in Uvalde schools. I mean, this is what Time magazine is reporting. And according to the Wall Street Journal, some became numb to lockdown alerts before the school shooting, meaning nobody was in a lockdown. Nobody's in a lockdown. Coming up next, our Back to School Month continues with a new issue, shaving. This wasn't part of the dress code, but let me tell you what. I'm going to tell you a story about the time my face got cut. Really got cut on the chin. We'll be right back. Our Back to School Month continues with a new thing, shaving. If you look in all the dress codes, they will tell you all males must be clean shaven. All males must be clean shaven. That's exactly what their dress code states. And the whole reason this is because they want the kids, the community feels like they want the kids to look sharp. You can't go both ways. And every teacher in every school building has a diploma from an accredited university or college. They pay their dues. And the adults do have a dress code. Teachers want facial hair. They also want dress shirt, shoes, and tie. I mean, if you look at the 3-page dress code, hair, male students will be clean shaven, hair must be clean trimmed and kept out of the eyes, sideburns may not be longer than the bottom of the ear, hairstyles that create distraction are considered disruptive and aren't permitted, mohawk, spiked hair, unusual color streaks. But when a student sees that, when a teacher sees that a student is not shaven, they're like, go to the nurse, send you with a pass, and then give you a razor shaving cream, and you cut your face. That's harsh. If you've cut your face, you've really cut your face. And during that time, when I was in school, I was told that I needed to shave, and then I cut my face, and by the time my coach saw it, it was too late. Alright, last month, a TikTok video went viral about a mother's daughter walked out due to dress code during that protest. So let's take a look from what's trending.
I'm to play ball so we could go in them.
When another school's administrator calls me while I'm teaching to tell me that my daughter said blank your dress code and walked out.
Mama said that it was okay. Mama said that it was fine.
Administration. In the now viral video, the user explains that she supports her daughter's choice to walk out of school after being dress coded. She captions the video, as you might not have seen, saying, "Shoulders, midriffs, and legs aren't the problem. Talk to the boys, men, who claim it's distracting." In a follow-up video, she says that her daughter created a protest against the dress code, where she and fellow students wore white tank tops with messages on them to bring attention to how dress coding affects students.
So glad you said that, because actually, boys did wear crop tops yesterday. None of them got sent home.
Although some said dress codes are fair to all students and do not usually single out girls only, Stasia said that boys in her class joined in this too, and while many of the girls wearing tank tops were dress coded, none of the boys were. In addition, some girls were allegedly dress coded a second time after the extra large shirts they were given to remedy the violation covered their shorts, which is also against the rules.
They also gave out extra large shirts and then dress coded the girls a second time when you couldn't see their shorts.
In a world where children go to school and must wonder about contracting COVID-19 or fearing there will be a school shooter, some wonder if focusing on dress codes might be a little outdated. Although one study said positive correlation between stricter dress codes and academic achievements, others found no correlation between the two. In addition, their research warned of the chances of limiting students' freedom of expression. So although many agree a minimal dress code should be enforced, many recount that the stricter dress codes often singles out girls, which can lead to the feeling of, shame or embarrassment. Of course, after posting a viral video like this one, the user's comments are flooded with mixed opinions. Although some were in support of her daughter and happy to see a supportive mother, others thought she was teaching her daughter to be disrespectful. Quote, "My friend's daughter was dress coded a few years ago for skinny jeans. Said she needed a long shirt with them so she wasn't distracting," one person commented. "There's no dress code in my kid's high school and they all turned out okay. Same graduation rates at any school," another person wrote. But as expected, not everyone agreed or saw the big deal when it comes to dress codes. One person pointed out that dress codes are necessary for not only schools, but jobs will often have required dress codes as well. "I don't get complaining about dress codes. Most jobs I've had dress codes. Lots of places have dress codes," one commenter said. One TikTok user responded and tried to explain that the dress code becomes an issue when it only picks on girls or makes them feel like they are a distraction to boys, education, or more, writing, "Sir, respectfully, you'll never understand how much more strict schools are on young girls when it comes to dress codes." Overall, the topic of dress codes remained controversial, as most agree that this is some form of gender bias. Obviously, you be the judge. For more trending news, find us at whatstrending.com and find me at Andrew Wani.
Wow. And these YouTubers have broken the dress code for a week. And women claim that it's sexist on them. I agree with the women that their dress code, that all schools' dress code, is sexist. If it targets women, that's sexism. That's gender discrimination. And the schools want to sit there and say, well, we're not discriminating girls. We're doing this to prevent distraction. Okay, well, you're doing this to prevent distraction. Why not? Why target all women? Because it's just not right. I mean, take a look at this incident.
I didn't think I had time for...
An honor roll student was suspended for insubordination, but she could not walk to graduation because she was dress coded because of that shirt. We'll watch this and we'll take a break.
Shirt. Tonight, it is at the center of a controversy. A straight-A high school student says this outfit got her suspended for 2 weeks, and now she won't be able to graduate despite having multiple scholarship offers. NBC Charlotte's Tanya Mendis joins us live tonight. Tanya, you spoke with her parents and the school, and of course, we know there are multiple sides to every story.
Well, of course, and this school doesn't mess around when it comes to its dress code policies. In fact, earlier this year, 45 girls were brought into the principal's office just because they were wearing leggings without shirts that were long enough. So to say that this school takes it seriously would be an understatement. Well, this girl says that what happened with her dress code spun so far out of control that now she could be expelled and her scholarships that she needs could be gone.
I'll never wear a shirt.
Summer knew when she wore that shirt to Hickory Ridge High.
I had it right here. So the tops of my shoulders.
She could be violating the dress code.
It's usually taken really seriously.
The school makes it clear off-the-shoulder tops are not allowed, and the principal came to enforce it in the cafeteria.
She came up to me. She said, "Do you have a jacket?" I said, "No, I don't."
A friend gave Summer one of hers. She thought that was the end of it.
And then I, pulled it up, pulled the jacket over it, zipped up the jacket.
But Summer says the principal wasn't satisfied, ordered her to go to the office to change. The honor roll senior has had issues with the principal before, to the point where her mother had to get involved.
I said, "I apologize, but I can't go anywhere with you unless my mom is on the phone."
So Summer sat and waited for her mom's call. That's when Summer says the principal called the SRO for backup.
Officer Elwood was within 5 feet of me, had his hand on his gun. She said, "I'm going to give you an ultimatum. We have tried to call your mother. You either come with me to the control room to change your shirt, or we will arrest you."
Summer's mom would eventually call back, so she agreed to go to the office. But by then it was too late. The senior with a 4.4 GPA, suspended for 10 days, told she can't walk at graduation.
A full ride means so much, and that is on the line right now.
Her future possibly stripped, all because of a shirt. Summer says it's a lot to shoulder.
It's just sad because I worked so hard for 4 years to walk across that stage, and we have drug dealers walking across that stage, and we have sex offenders walking across that stage, and then the 4.4 student who showed her shoulders can't.
So, here's what it says in part from May 2017. Miss Klein asked if she had a jacket and she could put it on. She said no. Summer pulled around her and said, "I think my shirt's fine." She's being shirt is fine. Summer said no. Called up Officer Elwood. Also, who else saw Summer with her? She refused. So that was the 10-day suspension for insubordination.
So this is the official suspension letter, and you can see right here the reason for her suspension, technically not the dress code violation, but rather insubordination. It goes on to say that Summer didn't listen. She denied that her shirt was ever a problem. Her mother, though, says she plans on appealing. Reporting live at Hickory Ridge High, I'm Tanya Mendis, NBC Charlotte.
I agree. Well, if it says it right there in the handbook, it's in the handbook. If you don't like it, transfer to a different school. We'll be right back. Imagine you're being bullied, and then you go to the principal, and your principal tells you that you're suspended for reporting the bullying. You think it's harsh, so you march up to the school board and say, "My son was suspended because he reported bullying." That's what happened 8 years ago when a student was suspended.
And it's high.
Student alerts school about bullying, and then he gets suspended. Let's watch.
Community buzzing tonight over a bullying investigation at its high school. This is happening at Rainier High School, and the outrage here, it involves a student who was suspended after alerting administrators to the bullying. Amy Frazier live in Rainier, where she's asking school leaders the tough questions. Amy?
Jeff, I spoke with the superintendent today. He tells me there's a lot of misinformation out there. But many of the students here at the high school disagree, saying the district needs to do more to respond to and stop bullying. Dozens of students walked out of class today in support of 18-year-old Nate Taylor, suspended from Rainier High School for 2 days.
I was very frustrated because somebody's life was on the line.
Nate says he went to a counselor and the principal on May 22nd, expressing concerns that a friend was being bullied.
Nothing was done, so I went back to him, and he told me the exact same thing, to stay out of it because I have nothing to do with it.
With his parents' permission, 15-year-old Dylan Lane also spoke with us today, showing us a picture he says another student posted of him on Instagram and the disturbing comments below it.
He told me
I'm gonna read you this comment, and I gotta warn you, it's very explicit. This is the biggest blanking. This is the biggest blank I know. Sits there and talks blank under his breath. But when I tell him to say it out loud, he won't. And then I told him I was going to punch him in the mouth. And this blank says, "Hit me, you're 18. That just shows you how much of a blank he is, because all he can do is go to the cops and say, and he can't even stick up for himself, "Stupid blank. Blanking cracking me up, boy."
Disturbing comments below it.
he told me to go kill myself.
Nate says he was worried it was something his friend might do, and he says that's why he went to school officials 3 times in the same day.
Did you get upset? Did you get angry?
Absolutely, I was pretty intense. I was very intense about the whole situation because somebody close to you losing their lives, not just taking their lives, I don't ever want to feel that.
I found out the superintendent is out of state today, but I reached him on his cell phone to find out more.
Was the student suspended for being a whistleblower on bullying?
No. We can't discuss specifics of a student case, but we can assure you that we have never suspended a student who has come to warn us about the safety or advocate for on behalf of a fellow student or friend.
What concerns me about this is the next kid who gets bullied and nobody's there to do anything about it.
This afternoon, Nate's father allowed the school to release his son's discipline file. It says Nate was suspended for inappropriate language towards staff and impeding an investigation, something Nate denies. The principal says he told Nate, "We are doing things, but I need you to calm down and let us do our jobs."
They weren't going to handle the issue. They were going to let it go.
Now, I asked the superintendent today if there is a bullying investigation going on here. He tells me yes, and he says there's a discipline hearing for the students involved next week. Parents here picking up their students who walked out tell me that those students have now been suspended from school. I'm still waiting to hear back from the district to get confirmation on that. We'll let you know. Reporting live in Rainier, Amy Frazier, Coin 6 News.
And it's kind of harsh. If you report the bullying incident, they tell you to stay out of it, but you're suspended, you should be a hero. If you're seeing someone who's being bullied and you report it, you should be the hero. They should be thanking you for reporting it. But no. You know what they do to you? They automatically tell you, "Hey, let us do our job. You need to stay out of it. Stay out of it and let us do our job." And they just don't want to deal with it. They just want to let it go. All right. You know fighting is not allowed in schools, but imagine being suspended for self-defense. That's what happened 9 years ago. Here's Fox 21.
He basically sucker punched me in the back of the head, and it was, I defended myself with a quick matter and just fought back.
Anthony's reaction to fight back earned him a 2-day out-of-school suspension from District 49 Skyview Middle School.
The fact that the kid had hit him from behind and Tony's instant and brief reaction, in my opinion, was entirely appropriate. It's impossible to live with the fact that the schools will not allow kids to defend themselves.
While the district won't comment on specific student cases, they do have specific guidelines on violent and aggressive behavior.
The bottom line is it's not tolerated in our schools for any reason.
Each student receives a code of conduct booklet for their parents to sign at the beginning of the year.
If there's some kind of verbal discourse going on between students and some person reacts with a violent behavior and the other person reacts back and it turns into a fight, everyone that was involved will receive a punishment, and that's really what's laid out in our policy.
A policy Anthony's family would like to see changed.
It's one thing if my student is going to initiate a fight, I expect them to be disciplined. But the discussion, the final ruling needs to be that if someone is attacked, they are allowed to defend themselves without being punished.
John Martin, Fox 21 News.
Kind of harsh. suspending everyone who started the fight. In my school, if you started a fight, you would go to SDGC for throwing that first punch. That's how it was. All right, turning now to an incident that happened 7 years ago. Imagine you're a student in class on your phone, and you and your teacher jams the phone. But there's another issue aside where people cannot use their phones. So it happened 7 years ago when a teacher was suspended after jamming a student's phone with a jammer. When I first watched the story years ago, I knew he broke the law. He really broke the law. What's the law? Let's take a look.
First up here at 10, a science teacher at 5A high school became so frustrated with his students using their cell phones during class. He didn't take them. What he did was he jammed them with a jamming device. But now the Pasco School District is calling him out on it because it's not only against school policy, it is illegal. Fox 13's Ken Suarez is at the school in Hudson.
Cell phones. Kids bring them and use them in school all the time now.
I see people on their phones constantly, whether it's talking to their parents, whether it's getting hold of work, going to class.
Pasco County lets kids use their cell phones between classes, but not during them. Dean Liptak wanted to make sure of that. He used a jammer so that his students' phones wouldn't work during his science class. Liptak wrote this letter to the district. In part it reads, "My intent for using the device was to keep students academically focused on schoolwork. It's counterproductive to stop instruction and lose academic focus when I have to tell a student to put his or her cell phone away." 5A administrators finally realized what was going on when Verizon called and said the jammer was affecting a nearby cell tower and messing up cell phones in the surrounding neighborhood. That can be dangerous.
If someone needed to call 911 in the school or in the vicinity, they may not have been able to get through. It could have been a life or death situation. There could have been law enforcement in the area that were not receiving signals.
That's why using a jammer is illegal. Liptak could have potentially been arrested by the sheriff's office. He wasn't. However, the school suspended him for 5 days.
I think the action might have been a little harsh on the teacher as far as to suspend them for that long a period, but rules are rules.
Donald Walker agrees.
I think it should be a write-up.
District officials say they took Liptak's entire record into consideration when they made the call to suspend him. Liptak has been disciplined before this.
He used an example of throwing a baby out of a window to calculate how long it would take for it to hit the ground.
Another instance, according to the district, where he made a bad call. Even though local law enforcement is not going to charge his teacher, the FCC could be a totally different matter. They can charge you up to $100,000, possibly even more than that, if they catch you using a jammer. Mark?
Ken Suarez reporting for us. Ken, thanks.
Wow. It's illegal to use a jammer. Now, 2 months ago, a parent of a suspended student weighs in after a prank. That happened. Watch.
Well, a senior prank that got way out of hand. It's a story we've been covering on air. It's trending online at ksat.com right now. Many of you reacting on social media tonight. Some saying students should be made to clean up the eggs, the meat, the toilet paper they threw through the halls at New Braunfels High School.
Yeah, others calling it a sickening waste of groceries during a time of inflation. There is an investigation to try and find out who was involved. The night team's John Paul Barajas reports at least one student was already suspended.
The principal told us, no matter how far you went, as long as you trespassed initially, as long as you went in the door, you're suspended.
This student feeling the impact from a senior prank at New Braunfels High School.
Yeah.
Senior Liberty Rule says she didn't think the prank would go as far as it did, adding she was under the impression it was only going to involve balloons and streamers and that district staff would be supervising.
A couple of people walked in with cheese and instant mashed potatoes, and I kind of knew from there it was going to go south. And there was people barricading doors with tables and stuff like that.
Pictures circulating among students show toilet paper and what looks like raw eggs on trophy cases. A screenshot of what appears to be a New Braunfels police email was posted on social media. It lists other damages like clogged drains and flooding from fountains. Everyone who's been identified now may not be able to walk at graduation.
Wednesday is our rehearsal for graduation, and I might not be able to go to that, and if I can't go to that, I can't go to graduation on Thursday.
A police spokesman could not comment because of the active investigation, and a spokeswoman for the school district would not comment on any discipline for privacy reasons. Students guessed 100 kids attended the senior prank.
I think community service is a fantastic thing. You know, hey, you know, if you're gonna do the crime, you gotta do the time.
You're adults now, almost adults. You're grown enough to know that if you do something, then there should be a consequence for that action.
Now, police did say that they caught a large group of people committing criminal mischief last night on the high school's campus. Those people were identified and released on scene. As for the senior we spoke with today, she says she's hopeful the investigation will clear those who did not cross the line in the senior prank. John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
And it doesn't matter if you did the prank or not. If you did the prank, you automatically got in trouble. You got in trouble for posting a prank, for doing a prank, for breaking into school. That's trespassing. That's trespassing, vandalism, and you could face days or months or years in prison or pay fines. So I really think that instead of just punishing them, say if you don't clean this up, you're not going to be walking on. You're not going to be walking on stage. That's what it should have been. If I did a senior prank and the principal called to me and said, "Did you do this prank?" I say, "Yes, I did. I will clean it up for you. Thank you." And then an administrator will monitor that cleanup, and during that time, you would see that clean it up, and all of a sudden, bam, it's already done, and I'm free to go back to class, or if it was after school, then I'm free to go home. Depending on the type of trash I collect. You can't really just do a prank and then leave it for the janitors to go pick up. No. You made the mess, you clean it up. As seniors, you're now going to be adults one day. All right, here's one more case.
A Grandview High School student accused of grabbing a female student between her legs has been given a 4-week suspension. The Fox 31 Problem Solvers first reported this investigation earlier on this month. It led to a student walkout last week at 5 high schools within the Cherry Creek School District. We reported the district had taken no action for at least 5 months, even though prosecutors had already charged the 17-year-old boy back in January with a misdemeanor count of unlawful sexual contact. The parents of the 16-year-old girl who reported the assault tell the Problem Solvers they are furious the boy may be allowed to return back to school in the fall, and that it took the district until today to make this decision. The suspension runs until the end of the school year.
Wow. Well, I got nothing better to say. Even the Northern Bay Haven student was suspended for racist TikTok. We're going to continue to look into these people who got suspended from schools, and then that's going to be happening on tomorrow, which is Monday, which is tomorrow, which is today, and we'll give you the very latest on Uvalde or Oxford during that time as our back to school month continues or comes to an end. That's all for a special edition of Give Me a Break Sunday. We'll see you again tomorrow for Give Me a Break Monday. For all of us here at YouTube and Give Me a Break, good night, everyone.